Hello and welcome back to the Underground Treehouse Podcast, a podcast that discusses and reviews music of all genres. I am 1/4 year host Ruben. Joining me is Keenan.
What up?
Marcos.
Hi.
And Isaac.
Hello, hello.
And this week we are going to be reviewing the newest album by hardcore band Candy called Heaven Is Here. Woo! Ooh, very interesting, very heavy. Can't wait to talk about this shit. This is Marcos' pick, but before we give it to him, as always, we'll go ahead and we'll give you our local beer recommendation of the week, as well as our music recommendations of the week. Isaac, go ahead and start us off with the music, baby.
Okay, so this week I really thought about it, and I wanted something that would kind of match the energy of this album. So if you're really digging this album, you might want to check this song out too. It is called Real World by a band called Common Rule. They just dropped a song like 3 months ago, and it's pretty heavy. So if you're into like that, like more hardcore style and that real heavy shit, give it a listen. Again, I think this doesn't really sound like this album. It's its own thing, but if you like this album, you'll like this song. And yeah, give it a try.
Marcos?
I've been listening to this band called No Right. Insane, dude. Insane. I've been having a thing for woman vocalist. She goes dumb hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, on every
Genre?
track. Or hardcore.
Hardcore? Nice.
Yeah, the 1 through 5 top songs on Spotify are all like heat, dude.
Mm-hmm.
So just, go to their Spotify and just press play. They're all heat.
Shout out to women vocalists. Shout out to Punitive Damage and Entry, who we just saw.
And Scowl.
Nice.
Yeah, and we just saw Scowl too.
Yeah,
Man.
and Destroy Boys.
And
Destroy Boys. Man, they're fucking killing it.
Shout outs to all the women.
Shout out to women.
Just
Shout out to Roe v. Wade. Bring that shit back.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
let women have autonomy of their body.
I was like,
wait, whoa. Shout out to which part of it?
What do you mean? We're all pro-choice here. What are you talking about?
No, I know. It's because since it was just recently overturned. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Shout out to it. Like,
yeah, shout out to Roe v. Wade.
Bring
back.
it back.
Yeah, bring it back.
No, I got you. I didn't laugh. I got
Thank you.
I got you. I knew where you were coming from, baby.
Thank you.
I got you.
Me
Fuck them
Keenan
kids.
are fried.
bro,
Fuck them
I stayed
kids, bro.
Quiet. I looked at you like, where are you going, dog?
I'm about to start a whole political discussion
You're about to get canceled.
Canceled on our 6th podcast.
about the
About
greatness of revoking Roe v. Wade. No, bring that shit back, bro. Give our women their right to do whatever the fuck they want with their own bodies. So.
Facts.
Keenan, your
Yeah, my
recommendation?
bad.
Yeah, well,
You guys are good. My recommendation for the week is the newly released album, I'm Scared That's All There Is, by the Oklahoma City pop punk band Ben Quad. And real quick, shout out to the homie Parker. Last time I was out there in Oklahoma, I went to a local skate shop and I ran into this dude who was working there. And he actually threw me onto them. So shout out Parker. Ben Quad. It was just released on June 29th, and it's a very fun album. Very pop punk, good instruments, good lyrics, sad boy lyrics. Check it out. I'm Scared That's All There Is by Ben Quad.
and he was one of the participants in our topic discussion.
Yes, he was. Heaviest Heart.
right.
Heaviest Heart. He's the one that shouted out, what was it, Alex G and 2 other artists, like
Yeah.
bedroom pop artists.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm
Shout
right.
out to him, man.
Shout out. Thank you
for
very
the
much.
interaction and the follow, man. Shout
Word.
out to you and for putting us on great music.
Seriously.
So my recommendation is actually similar to Isaac's in terms of it being within the same genre of the album that we're reviewing. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't even know how I found this shit, and I can only find it on Bandcamp. It's not on YouTube. It's not on
Nice.
Spotify. It's not on Apple.
It's not on YouTube?
No. It's not
Damn,
on
that's
YouTube.
how you know it's like...
Yeah,
Legit.
this some dope ass shit. They're a small hardcore band from Denton, Texas called Trap Lord.
What?
And they have a 6-track EP called Drowning in the Wave. I don't know how I came upon this, but I'm so fucking glad I did. It dropped in 2017, and I think I found it a couple years ago because I know I've been on this for a little bit. But man, the reason why I'm recommending this, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but Candy does a lot of cool experimentation with like glitchy sounds and with static and
Very
industrial.
fuzzy.
Yeah, very fuzzy, very industrial sounding. And Trap Lord does the same exact thing with this Drowning in the Wave album. It says physical copies are available through Heavy Baby Records, but this shit dropped in 2017, and I can't even find like secondhand like
bootlegs of it, or
Yeah.
or not even bootlegs, but just
Like-
resells.
Risa. I can't find anything about this. So if anybody's listening and you know about this, please, I will pay good money for a record or for a 7-inch, whatever you got. Yeah, but
Pretty
again,
please.
Drowning in the Wave by Trap Lord, Bandcamp only. All right, our local beer recommendation of the week is going to come from the wonderful people at Boxing Bear. This is going to be their Black and Blue Tart. Funny little story. When we first came up with the idea of doing this podcast, we were meeting up, just us four. We were like, well, it's kind of lame to meet up at somebody's house. We kind of want to go out and make a thing out of it, that way. We kind of get a flow for it, and we could just go out and have a good time, talk about music. And Boxing Bear was our home base. We were always at Boxing Bear. So
100%. And they
It's-
were always super like generous to us, and great service, great beer. The staff was amazing. The place there was always clean. It was never too rowdy, but always had like a good vibe to it, good energy.
great food options
Great
around.
food, yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, they probably don't know it, but it's Boxing Bear is almost like integrated within our inception, So
100%.
they have a special place in our heart, as well as this beer. Again, this is the Black and Blue Tart. As the name suggests, it's very tart. It's a nice sour, so it has a nice little sting on your tongue. Blackberry, blueberry, tastes great.
Yeah, it's a very dynamic beer, I would say.
Very dynamic.
It's something that you drink and you just immediately, it kind of like makes you pucker up a little bit, makes you aware, like bitch, you're drinking me. The fuck?
Makes you aware. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you didn't know, now you fucking
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
Yeah, shout out Boxing Bear.
Shout out Boxing Bear.
Shout out
man.
Boxing Bear,
Great
bro.
people, and Black and Blue
Cheers.
Tart, great beer.
Cheers.
Cheers, fam. All right, fellas, let's go ahead and get into this. Let's get into this hard ass shit. Heaven is Here by Candy. Marcos, how did you come upon Candy in this album?
It was retweeted by a lot of hardcore bands on Twitter, and so I gave it a listen. I liked it.
So it had some circulation.
Yeah, like Tsunami retweeted it, Field of Flames,
Wow.
pretty much all the Bay Area bands, pretty much.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is super cool because it just shows that like these bands are wanting other bands to grow, and like,
Yeah.
and they're giving them the shout out, that they deserve, and just, putting more people on that. I think that's so cool. I think a lot of the time, music used to be very like jaded and, like very click based almost, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, no, you can't hang out. Like now everyone just wants to spread the love, and I fuck with that.
Definitely. And more so because, a lot of these bands, the members of the bands go off and, join other bands, or, they go and create other bands that get just as big as their original one, I
Right.
mean,
It's all connected.
yeah, it's all interwoven, so it's cool to see a community that's so tight knit.
100%.
So Candy is, like we've said, considered a hardcore band.
Definitely.
But-
Are you kidding me? The fucking two-stepping, the circle pitch,
But-
all
but-
the fucking breakdowns on the fucking album. Come on.
Yeah, but that
That's like a
Like,
surface level way of putting it because of all
because-
the production.
yes, this shit goes way deeper than just hardcore,
Yeah.
When
It's very
you
unique.
Oh, 100%. When you hear hardcore, at least me personally, hardcore has a very distinct sound. So when I read that this was a hardcore band, I kind of had an idea of what I was already going to get. But holy shit, man, there is layers to this as far as the sound goes, man. I hear influences from Metallica. I hear influences from Creator.
9 Inch Nails,
I hear influences from Nine Inch Nails.
Death Grips.
Anything industrial, like it's pretty nuts. So how did you guys feel about the sound overall? Did you guys have any expectations going into it, and were you guys surprised at all with what we got?
I frankly, like, I'd never heard of Candy, and I was expecting pretty much what I got was just a hardcore ass album. Honestly, I was expecting less, to be honest. It blew my expectations more because majority of the tracks, like, you could fucking like get down to really fucking hard. This one's fucking pretty heavy, dude. So,
Well, yeah, the instrumentation is hard. The vocals they're almost like black metal esque, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
in
shit
some
is
parts it gets so melty.
no, I guess the thing
True.
that really kind of like made me think twice was the electronic sound, industrial sound to it.
Mhm.
I was not expecting that whatsoever, so
Mm-mm.
got me unexpectedly.
That's what I wasn't expecting. I mean, going in, I've never heard of this band, and so I didn't know what to expect. But after listening to like the first song, the first couple songs, you kind of get what's going on, and then towards like the second half of the album, once you start getting the industrial sounding, the electronic sounds, it definitely that took me by surprise, especially the last song, which we'll get into. But I mean, to me, it's kind of like this was like a heavier Vane, because Vane incorporates a lot of that like electronic, like industrial sounds, and I mean, when Arizona came out, a couple years ago, that was like a game changer in like the metal scene, and so this was it was just cool to like hear it like fresh
Right.
again and hear this sound again, and even a lot heavier than Vane, I would say. So like this definitely like caught my attention.
So your original question was like, what did you think of the sound? So the sound for me, so okay, this is gonna be very surface level, but I saw the album cover and I was like, oh, this shit about to be fucking crazy, bro. About to be some Badushka shit, you know, or like something not what I expected, but it was still very good. The like, I guess, how would you say, the electronic parts, the industrial
Yeah.
the industrial parts were very cool. Very, very cool. I don't know about that last track, but everything else was super, super interesting, because I've never in my life would ever expect to hear those two genres, hardcore and like industrial, but like more leaning towards like a hard style industrial sound, you know? I fucking loved it. Like can I skip a little forward, sir?
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
Transcend to Wet, that
It's almost like a break beat or
but
like
it's that's a hard style beat, 100%. Doom, doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom. The what's that called? The beats per minute. That shit was fucking off the chain, bro. Like, it was so
fast,
good.
dude, fast. That's what I'm saying. Fucking circle pitting and two-stepping throughout the whole
Bro,
thing.
Elevate
and
the bucket.
cyber gothing under a bridge, bro. That's what I'm doing to this album, bro. This shit was so clean.
Have you heard of the band Health?
Health?
Health.
yeah.
yes, I have.
Very Health.
Yeah, it's
And
very
especially
healthy.
in this
yeah,
one.
I agree. I agree.
I wouldn't even be surprised like if Health was like a big influence on this, because Health themselves are like huge in like the metal scene.
Now that you say that, that's a very, very astute observation. I did not even think of that until you just said it. But now it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, because like I even have here like
It's still unique, though. It's
yeah,
still
it
unique.
reminds me of the artist Health, or even like I said earlier, like a heavier Vane,
Right.
like just heavier like Vane sounding, and so definitely hard style. Was not expecting
Yeah.
that.
It's like
Yeah.
a heavier Daft Punk for sure.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, Daft Punk is just a notch below.
Just,
But like, no, go ahead.
So Keenan and Marcus, you guys are like, and Ruben too. You guys all listen to hardcore music more than I do.
Not as much. They definitely delve into hardcore a little
You're
bit more
wearing a
than I do.
scowl shirt.
Yeah, you're
you
literally
got
wearing-
your
You're wearing a scout shirt.
Oh,
dog.
those
You
my
got your creds,
babies.
you're good.
Though. I love Scowl. Yeah.
Yeah. So with you guys being like more like in the culture and just overall more familiar with the sounds, is hardcore always this like thrash influenced? Because this shit was like 100% like ladies early 90s thrash to me. Like, it was super like I could just picture it in my head, like some fool with like long ass hair and spiky fucking bracelets.
I guess it
bumping this shit.
depends on the band, because hardcore encompasses a lot from different other metals or genres of metal.
Right. But like the thrash specific. Oh, so I get what you're saying. So you're saying that hardcore could have that, but it's not necessarily a staple. It's just some bands use that sound more and
Yeah, like
utilize it.
like
in their
Snuffed
own
on
way.
Sight is technically a hardcore band, but I feel like you could literally get that confused with black metal.
It just depends, because
Okay.
like just like your different eras, because like you have like your older stuff, like you have your older like your youth
Hey
crew,
Breed.
like straight edge stuff.
Hey
And so like Youth of Today. Who's another one?
Hatebreed.
I don't know if they're straight edge, but yeah, Hatebreed.
Wow. That's like OG hardcore though.
And
But-
then like
but these
Have
are
Heart,
ones-
Have Heart. But like for the thrash like sounding, a good example is like Power Trip,
Okay.
R.I.P. Riley, and then Drain. So you do have like that style within like the hardcore genre where you do hear like those thrash like heavy metal elements,
Okay.
especially like in this one, because it was interesting that like Ruben said like you hear Creator in this, and it's like you
Right.
do because like Creator has like those wild guitar solos that are just all over the place. Obviously, this is a lot better, but you do have those thrash elements.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what this band really exceeds at with this album is not only incorporating these crazy thrash sounds, but incorporating industrial sounds and incorporating, more traditional hardcore sounds. It's you kind of like covered the full spectrum of subgenre metal, if that even makes sense. Like it. And low key, I could be the only one that feels this way. I also think that once this album is essentially split into two halves, right? The first half is a little bit more traditional hardcore, but once you hit the second half, it starts getting a lot more experimental. It gets a lot more industrial sounding and a lot more
100%.
thrash sounding. There's fucking guitar solos. So I think that that kind of plays to the detriment of this album,
Interesting.
And after listening to it fully, it makes me, feel almost let down by the first half. I feel like the first half is what it does good. But after hearing what the second half brings us, it's like, man, I wish you guys would have just did this the whole album,
Maybe that was
or-
the point of the
They're
album.
playing it safe.
Yeah, like the first half was playing it safe, and then they started incorporating really cool ideas. So again, I could be the only one that feels this way, but I just think the second half way outshines the first half.
Even the last
And-
song.
I agree.
Yeah.
Even
yeah.
the last song.
I think you 100% have to be, at least me personally, you have to be in a very specific mindset and a very specific mood to listen to like harsh noise metal. But I think when you actually sit down and listen to it, it's very intricate. There's layers thrown in there, that you can kind of pick out from.
Yeah, layers of everything.
Yeah, literally.
It's like an onion.
And it never ends. It's like an infinite onion.
Yeah, it makes you want to cry.
We should just
Oh shit!
That was a good one.
get into that last song.
You just want to get into it right away.
Let's just dive in.
That song's so fucking...
So
Make
yeah,
a case for it.
So the last song, the 10th track is Perverse. And it's literally 10 minutes of just pure noise. It's noise metal, essentially.
Explain what noise metal is for the viewers out there.
2 words. Death grips. That's literally it.
Nah,
That's a death grips.
because Death Grips has rhythm.
Word.
Oh, barely.
This was chaotic.
Exactly. This has
Bro,
no rhythm.
This
This
was
was
just
chaotic
chaotic.
evil if I've ever heard it.
Right, this was literally turning on your TV to like channel 1 and turning your radio to a non-existent like fucking radio station.
Bro, this is
Just
how you
static.
like connect to the upside down, bro. You play
Word.
this song and you just like
This is
start
a-
floating
yeah,
up in your eye sockets.
This is what Al uses to like go into her fucking. She puts this song in the background just to go into her fucking state of.
Well,
No,
Steve,
'cause she
but-
can't concentrate to this one, bro.
Starts headbanging to it.
but
Yo.
does this not like encapsulate the purpose of the album perfectly?
You're right. No, you're not.
know?
You're not wrong. And I'm not hitting on the song because I think you're right. I think you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be in the right time to listen to it and understand it. That it encompasses everything that the band is trying to point out in the album for sure.
Right. I mean, the whole album is just about, the decay of society and, how politics have just completely fucking ruined everything. And we have like 2 random tracks about like fucking and like sex. But other than that,
Yeah.
the whole album is just doom and gloom. And it's just, probably the most pessimistic shit I've heard this whole year. So to have a 10-minute, behemoth of a track with
Yeah.
just a wall of sound, I think it wraps everything up perfectly. And it's just kind of something that you have to kind of experience for yourself. I mean, as basic and as mundane as it kind of sounds, a wall of sound is literally the best way to describe this.
I would agree.
again, like I said earlier, there is kind of like layers to it that you can kind of pick out. You know, around like the 3-minute mark, there's these cool little like synth patterns that are thrown in.
There's definitely like like you said, patterns. There's definitely like a progression in the wall, I guess, you know.
Yeah,
it goes from like brick to fucking guardrail to fucking to iron fence, you know, like there's a progression in the wall, but at the end of the day, it's
but
still
the whole
wall.
time you're like wading through fucking mounds of gravel. You know what I mean?
100%.
It's just like
it's like that one picture of that guy sitting in the chair and he's like getting blown away.
yeah, dude.
You know what I'm talking about?
That old advertisement.
Oh, it's that old one. Yeah,
was
and
like
they
a-
did it in Jackass.
Yeah. It was like a
that's-
Dolby ad or something from
Yeah.
like the 90s. Holy shit.
Shout outs 90s Adobe ads, bro. 'Cause that shit's permanently
Yeah.
ingrained in my brain. Point of the story, this song's a rough listen, but it's very interesting. I think if you're interested by what we're saying, I think you should definitely give it a try, just for the simple fact of it's almost like a spectacle. It's almost like looking at a bearded lady or a fucking monkey fish.
Yeah,
you know?
but they would appreciate it more if you heard the album.
That's true.
From
Oh,
front
yeah.
to
That's
back.
true.
From
If you,
front-
yeah,
but
listening
the
to it
first-
out of context definitely takes a lot of.
Yeah, you don't listen to this album on
pizzazz.
shuffle. Listen to it from like track 1 to the last track.
Yeah, and it's a short. It's a short listen too. It's only like
Yeah,
what,
so
like
thir-
29 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's 29,
Yeah.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
So I wanted to go off on one track that you brought up earlier, which was Transcend to Wet.
Okay.
I want to talk about that one song, and I also want to talk about just like the general industrial sound of it.
Okay.
Because that's my personal favorite
Same.
aspect of this album. Like, it's super dope how Transcend to Wet is like a real fast BPM. You know, it's like a hardstyle type of sound.
100%.
But then the very next, or I would say probably but then the song that has probably the second biggest industrial influence is Kinesthesia.
Yes.
And Kinesthesia
Yes.
is 100% Nine Inch Nails.
Yep.
It sounds exactly like Heresy. You know, it's very it's not real fast break beats like Transcend to Wet was. It's very like boom bap with very like harsh drills fucking going straight into your brain. You know, it's so sick. And that's why I say, you know,
Yes.
in comparison, the first half kind of pales because this sound is just so much more interesting. You know, I just wish that they would
it's
have.
forced upon you. Like,
It's definitely forced upon you. And again, like with the way the album descends into this sound, it works amazing.
The one thing that I would describe the second half of the album would be it's very textured. It's very, very textured. Like the first half is very. I sound like a fucking scratch CD, fucking repeating this shit. Second half is very traditional. Or first half's very traditional. Second half, you could feel that shit, bro. It feels like grains of sand. It feels like rubbing metal or like sparks from like a welder or something. Like it's
A great description. Wow.
you know what I mean? Or
They're
like
letting loose.
huh?
They're letting loose.
They're letting loose. They're hanging brain, bro. They're fucking insane. All right, go ahead. I just wanted to say that because it is very textured, I would say.
No, so seriously, so like the Kinesthesia is like a perfect build up to Perverse, because like
Oh,
you get it, you know you still get the elements from like the first half of the album, and then it goes straight industrial for 10 minutes, and just pure chaotic. But it's nice because you do kind of like, even though it was still kind of forced upon you, like Marco said, like they still kind of like build you up for it, and so.
Right.
Opposite of you, I actually prefer the first half.
That's
Because maybe it is more traditional. Maybe that's like kind of what I'm into right now. And so, but I did not mind the second half. I can't do Perverse. Because like you said, you just have to be in like a specific mindset.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, next.
Right.
Let me just start the album over.
Right. Yeah. Just completely get rid of it.
And it's not a knock on it. Because like I have listened to it like a couple times now, and it is nice, but like after what I get from the first half leading up to it, skip.
Dude, I'm the same way. I like the first half a lot more too.
Really.
Is that because what we're like into right now?
Yeah, it's a lot more. So the first half does interpret some like techno, electronic, industrial noises. Like, don't get me wrong, they do. But I
It
feel
definitely
like,
does. It definitely does. It's sprinkled in there.
Yeah, it's sprinkled. It's not forced upon you. So I fuck with the first half of the album a lot more because I could get down with just the basic traditional hardcore sound of it instead of getting fed, spoon fed. Open up your mouth, woo, with the airplane with the spoon.
Choo choo.
Fucking industrial music.
Just straight
Death
static.
Grips, 9 Inch Nails, fucking
Yeah.
influenced music. And it's not a knockoff on it, like you said, but I just fuck with it. Just the traditional with the sprinkles on top of it more than the second half of the album.
I mean, it's a fair take. It's a fair take. The second half is very abrasive, it's very in your face. So I wouldn't fault anybody for not really getting with it. And just to clarify, so when we say first and second half, it's more like it's 10 tracks. So the first 4 are, the more normal traditional sounding. Yeah, the more traditional sounding hardcore. And then 5 through 10 is when it starts getting very, glitchy and industrial sounding. And even though the second half gets a little bit more abrasive, I mean, you're still sprinkled in with some songs that are, somewhat straightforward. So that thrash element that you were talking about, you hear it 100% on Fantasy Greed or Fantasy/Greed. Like that's where I got big Creator vibes or like big Maiden vibes. I 100% heard it on
over Hysteric Bliss.
I was gonna it literally had that in my notes. Yeah.
No, Hysteric. I mean, if you're asking me to compare the two, yes, I think Fantasy/Greed encompasses a little bit better. But yeah, no, Hysteric Bliss. But Hysteric Bliss has the guitar solo.
Yeah.
And I can 100% see why you would think that.
Yeah, because like right off the rip, it's just like super fast and like here's the thrash. What do we got? Getting classic thrash vibes, heavy on this one, although they've been persistent on the other tracks. As written by Isaac.
I didn't think this one was gonna read it out loud. Well,
I don't know why'd you hand it to him.
No, just so I could because I agree. Like I wrote this shit down like ahead of time, and he literally said what I just wrote down. It is very, very, very thrash, and holy shit, they do a good job at emulating that sound and kind of wearing their influences on their sleeve a little bit. I would say.
Yeah,
it's one of those things, but in a respectful way. Like they don't. They fuck up some thrash, you know what I mean? They fucking seriously. Do it right,
They're not like biting off of them or anything.
Exactly. It's fresh.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I put too. I mean, it was good to finally hear like the thrash elements in this one, especially with the guitar. And then towards the middle and the ending of the track, that's when you get like the classic like hardcore like breakdown 2-step in style.
Right.
And then after that, then we just go industrial.
Yeah, it's a good fusion. Well, in terms of like the hardcore and the thrash.
Oh yeah,
it's very good. Like even in like the first and second tracks, like it starts out like real, slow and chugging in a fun way, and it's a great way to start the project out. And then, and it's very, very traditional in a good way. And then like, towards the end of that track, it gets a little hectic, Yeah. And then boom, the second track, it just comes slamming in your face. Tempo hard as fuck. It almost reminds me of Entombment of the Machine. Just the way Entombment of the Machine starts with that blasting drum beat and the vocals. That's exactly what the second track reminded me of.
Oh,
but only in that part, obviously, because it's like two totally different genres. But yeah, like the more traditional elements, although kind of basic. I mean, that's they kind of fucking do it great.
Yeah,
they do it really well. You know what I mean? And even in Heaven Is Here, like they have the Heaven Is Here is fired. The drums on that track is fucking sick. In the whole entire first half of the song, they do like a 5-syllable thing for like every bar, like every bar.
Right.
It's so fucking sick to hear in that hardcore style. It's almost like a rap, but in hardcore. And they do such a great job with it, you know what I mean? And then the last minute of the song just fucking turns it up to 11. Like, oh, it's so good. For a title track of an album, they
delivered on it.
They delivered.
Yeah, I literally have here, I did not let this song finish. It was on repeat so much. The self-titled track, Heaven Is Here, has my favorite breakdown on the entire album.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
The breakdowns in a lot of the songs, but...
Oh yeah, this is the one that.
This is a good one.
This was the one for me.
Pick.
Yeah. What about the breakdowns though? Like they're like all of them are sick, but which ones do you prefer?
The first track, Human Condition above Human Opinion,
which is fucking fire, by the way. That's a fire name.
Oh, dude.
Yo, the way they do it too is like it's like the breakdown and then the rhythm with the 2-step and the rhythm with the mosh pit. So they like when you know they're performing these motherfuckers live. Oof. It's gonna be a fucking live ass crowd. You
Be
know
violent.
that for a fucking fact. It's gonna be a live ass fucking crowd. People are gonna get hurt.
Throwing bows in public, listening to this
Yeah,
at the gym.
yeah. This is definitely. I've been listening to this at the gym all the fucking time. This is definitely a gym fucking.
You reaching your PB to the shit or what?
PB.
I
personal
wish not
best?
yet.
Oh,
Did I say it wrong? Is that not what it's called?
Yeah.
I thought it was a PR.
PR.
Personal record?
Yeah.
Oh, personal best.
Personal best.
He said PB.
I mean, you technically can, right?
Damn.
But that's
Yeah, I
not.
guess
That's
so.
not what everybody says. I fucked that up.
Yeah, you know, and there was a couple songs that I mean, spoiler, I'm not really huge on Mutilation or Heaven Is Here. You
How
know,
dare you.
they're good, but I mean, again,
Well,
in
that's
comparison
trash
to the
ass
rest,
taste.
nah, hell no. Like, so again, in comparison to what we get in the second half, it's like, oh man, I wish they were better. And I like Price Utopia. When I first listened to this album, I was like, man, this album is going downhill, dude. Like, Price Utopia, this shit is not sounding very good. But I love that they picked up the second half of Price Utopia, and it went like it was like that was the real descent into chaos. That was like so fucking fuzzy and so it sounded so dope. It was such a perfect lead-in into Transcend to Wet, and then everything else we got after that. Real quick, I know we were talking about the first half, but I wanted to just jump to one track in the second half. World of Shit was a pretty good song, but I loved that like chop up in the middle, like in the middle of the song where it almost sounded like the track was getting like rewinded. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
And then like the main vocals kind of like got really subdued, and then it was like this weird like tape rewinding kind of sound, and then it
Yeah.
would go back and then jump back. Like it did this cool little back and forth for I don't know 10-15 seconds, but that was fucking sick. I love that.
What took me completely out of that song though was the fucking air sound at the beginning.
It took you out in the beginning of the song.
Huh?
It took you out in the beginning of the song.
Yeah, it completely checked me, bro. I was completely checked after I heard that shit. I was like,
You're like, it started. I'm
yeah,
shocked.
turn this the fuck off, bro. That shit hurt my ears so many times because I'd be listening to it like the song before, and then that song would come on, and then I'm just like, yeah. What the fuck is this, bro? Like, I don't know. In my opinion, that sound didn't serve any purpose other than just to be abrasive.
What
Just
song are you talking about again?
World of Shit.
World of Shit.
Which, by the way, it's a fucking I'd rather serve crack before I serve my country hat ass song.
Dude, it 100% is. It 100. It
Like,
100%.
literally, bro.
is.
Like, what
oh
the fuck?
my god.
Song goes hard as fuck. I don't know what you're talking about.
What do you mean?
What instrument is that? That static instrument that they use in the middle.
Oh, that's just.
That's just fuzz, baby.
That shit
They
is
just
straight.
threw a mic in the wind, bro.
Yeah.
And then turn the gain up to like fucking 1,000% or something. So that brings up one thing that I did kind of want to touch on. I mean, I don't think the themes are like, you know, there really is anything super deep to it. You know, like
There's only one song that I think is super deep, but we'll get into it later.
well, no, go ahead. I want you to talk about that.
I just feel like Fantasy, even though it was, I mean, sonically it was kind of not really doing too much for me, but at least lyrically, at least they were trying to say something about like capitalism. Obviously, like every song was talking about like society and how shit it is, but it was very just like, it's shit, kill yourself, all this. It's very nihilistic, you know?
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah, but the drums on the fucking song are insane.
yeah, no, for sure.
Well, yeah,
for
the
sure.
sound,
Like sonically,
but
it's
I mean,
cool.
as far as
But like lyrically, like none of them really like got me. I mean, Transcend to Wet's pretty funny. Like,
Well,
that's how I want to fuck to.
How do you not like the fucking gory, gruesome, grimy ass fucking lyrics that they say? I like that shit. I like it when they talk about
It's
shit
only
like
like what? It's only like a minute and a half of lyrics, and just all instruments. Like
Oh,
every
fantasy?
song, yeah,
like
the
every
songs are
song. Well,
Oh,
every
oh,
song.
and
It's
every
like
song.
every song.
Yeah,
so
that's
it-
true.
So
That's true.
there's
It
one.
is-
There's one lyric on this song that remind me of you guys, and it's
It's a world of shit. You guys fucking suck.
scum of the earth. I wish they died.
oh,
That reminds me of
Oh,
us.
baby.
damn.
I'm just joking.
Dog, you're in
Wow.
my house.
Take the headphones off.
It's a
Boo this
fucking
man.
joke. Damn, bro.
No, so
Wait, what lyric was that on?
Oh, it's a fantasy greed.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna fucking go bodies, dog.
Well, their footprints are left on your rotting teeth. Oh, come on, dog.
That's gonna be him by all of us after this fucking podcast, bro.
For real, dude.
God damn. No, but the lyrics that pretty much like encapsulates the album, like to me, was in Price of Utopia. Straight up, it's just like our population brings disaster. Humanity is the root of all cancer. Infected, and literally like that was the message for all of these songs except for three of them.
Yeah.
One being all
Noise.
instrumental.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Which,
so,
by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you, and then I'll let you talk. On Genius, it says like lyrics undiscovered or something like that.
Yeah.
Like,
Undiscovered.
yeah, like all fucking weird, bro. Like you're being dramatic. Come on.
come on, genius. No, so like literally like that verse right there, like I was like that pretty much sums up this entire album.
Right.
And you know what? It goes perfect with the album art, and so you can't really take like a deep dive into these lyrics because, like you said, it is very just out there. It's like it's shit.
Yeah, very surface level.
Very, very surface. Yeah, they're saying what they're saying, just at face value. It's funny that you bring up Price of Utopia because I literally have in my notes, "We live in a society." Head ass song.
Dude, it was-
Yeah, 'cause
It
it's
really is.
literally what I mean. That's what the whole album, like that's what they were going for.
Yeah, 100%.
and they did it.
They did it.
And even mutilation
and-
is like, "Wake up, sheeple." Like that's like the vibe I got from that too.
Some
Like,
Yeah,
Joker
you're
ass
being
shit.
sold.
yeah,
Literally, like that's what it was.
yeah. Why don't you know you're being sold? Like,
And then
although
the-
that was a solid ass
And then
line
the
delivery at the
second
end.
heaviest breakdown comes in.
Yeah, that shit was kind of clean. I'm not kind of. It was clean. It was clean, bro.
Yeah, it's just funny to have an album based around the corruption of capitalism and how terrible our society is.
Right.
Yeah, fucking Transcend to Wet and Kinesthesia, which is just fucking pure fucking like
They love songs, baby.
Literally.
Is this a fucking industrial metal fan's love song? This what you play to court your woman?
You have like black rose petals like sprinkled all over the bed and shit, bro.
Dude, this me and Isaac, we just saw the movie Titan.
Oh yeah.
Dude, this is those type of chicks you play it for. Leaking oil out their tits and shit.
Bro, for real, you got a metalhead literally bro, pumping this shit. She got a little V12 in her fucking stomach, bro. Shit about to go in fucking turbo boost mode. I'm like,
You gotta watch the movie to understand.
yeah,
It's just so funny to have like such explicit. Well, I guess they're not even that explicit, but
no,
I mean,
but it's a very nihilistic, Like no hope at all. All hope is gone. Shout out Slipknot. Like it's so fucking like just doom and gloom.
yeah, even the sexual songs are doom and gloom.
Yeah,
I mean,
bro, these fools are impotent.
Senses climax, only kiss. Cherished touch, only kiss. Nothing more, only kiss. Like
Yeah,
fuck,
bro.
dude.
Straight to the point.
Straight to the. I guess so.
They
With
can't
the
even
drums
hold hands
behind
or
it?
nothing, bro.
With
That's
those
fucked up.
with those blast beats behind it though.
I think it's the only thing that I'll say about this is that it is very admirable that they do feel the way that they do. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like they definitely feel that way, and they definitely don't fuck with like, capitalism and the way people are treating each other and stuff like that. So, although it is surface level, it is very genuine, I would say, or at least it appears to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what, I was gonna say that too. It's straight to the point.
Straight to
It's
the
straight to the point. Like we all said, it is surface level, and you know what? They give you good sounds to it. It's quick and it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like what you said about the sound. I mean, the sound is complements the message of the album perfectly.
Yep.
They couldn't have done it in a more abrasive way.
Yeah, just pure chaos.
Pure chaos, pure nihilism. The world sucks.
Word.
With that being said, does anybody else have anything they want to add on? Any tracks or anything?
Yeah, I need to
before
see
we-
them live.
Oh, dude, this is a must-see show if they're ever anywhere near us.
Facts.
We're 100% gonna catch them.
100%.
Anybody else? Any other tracks?
think
Any
that's it.
lines, lyrics? Everybody
No,
good?
sir.
Cool. Well, let's go ahead and get into our overall reviews, overall score, and top 3 tracks. Keenan, start us off.
So first off, shout out Marcos for this. This is great.
Yo.
Seriously, I had thought I knew this band, but I was getting them mixed up with another band. And so listening to it, I was like, who is this? It's so completely, from never listening to them, it just completely like caught my attention. Off the first track, kind of loses me there at the last song, honestly. And it's not a huge knock for me. But overall, I mean, this album was and still is on repeat for me. If I have to go top 3 tracks, not in any specific order, I would go Mutilation, Heaven is Here, and Hysteric Bliss.
Nice.
The only thing holding this album back for me is it didn't do anything new for me. It didn't separate itself from, you know, what's already been released or what's being released right now. So
Wow.
it hit all the boxes as far as like hardcore sounding for me. It's heavy. It's good. The lyrics were, you know, they could have gone into a little more detail. But it still wasn't a huge knock for me. And like I said, I'd be okay without that last song. But because of all that, it's still like a solid 8 for me because it still checked all those boxes. You know, it did what it had to do. But the only thing separating it is it's nothing new. It's nothing we haven't heard before. And so that's it. Overall, though, this is a great album, and I have like 5 or 6 songs. Almost the whole album made the playlist. So
Cool.
shout out Marcos again. Fire.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's throw it to him. Marcos.
I thought this was a great album for being hardcore. I liked what they experimented with. Definitely gave me some Vane FM vibes and a lot of other experimental vibes. But just that I was literally dancing in the gym throughout every fucking track on this album, trying not to 2-step and shit. And they even interpret the fucking the trademark, the ARF in one of their songs.
They did. Yeah. He threw in an ARF
Yeah.
in Heaven is Here, right?
I really don't remember.
But he does the ARF and then it like echoes out. It's
Yeah,
so
it's
sick.
Hysteric Bliss.
Hysteric Bliss. That's what
Yeah,
it
right in
is.
the middle too. Right in the middle of the song, like, he gives a fucking nasty ass ARF.
That's so funny.
It's a really good hardcore album, and it being a hardcore album, I'm gonna give it 8 out of 10. My top 3 tracks are Human Conditions Above Human Opinion, Hysteric Bliss, and Price of Utopia.
Sick.
For this album, I was torn. I did enjoy the first half. Second half was fucking tremendous, but the second half left me wanting more, and because of that, it kind of fell a little flat for me. And I'm not really big into hardcore. I'm actually just kind of getting into it within the past like 6 months, hanging out with you guys, you know. So because of that, this first half doesn't hold as much weight, even though it is, you know, done well, you know, on a technical level. And I like that they took risks and did something, you know, try to do something different with the sound, but the lyrics were just kind of, you know, flat. A lot of it was kind of just flat for me, only because when you tease me with something crazy, bro, and then you kind of just give me, you know, something traditional right after it, it's a weird, it's a weird balance, you know. But with that being said, top 3 tracks, I would say Hysteric Bliss, because it's fucking hard as fuck. Transcend to Wet, because, you know, I love that hard style. And Kinesthetic, is that how you say that?
Kinesthesia.
Yeah, those are probably the most experimental songs, or the other two, and then Hysteric Bliss, I think, did the thrash the best. So, and then I'd probably give this about a 5 out of 10. Again, that's a good score because it's right in the middle. It's right in the middle. I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's right in the middle. You know.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it. I'm very, very interested though if they, you know, go in that more experimental position later in the future. So
I 100% agree with you. The second half was phenomenal. The first half just didn't really do much for me because, again, it's so traditional. I felt like I wasn't getting anything new with that. So I agree with you, Keenan, as far as that. I think the first 4 were, you know, traditional, didn't do anything new. But what we got in the second half was just so interesting, and it sounded so good. You know, the second half just grabbed my attention so much more. And, you know, like you said, Isaac, I just wish they would have delved a little bit more into that. But I'm going to give it a little bit higher than you. I'm going to give it a 6.5.
that's fair.
You know, the first half is good, but I could do without Mutilation, and I could do without Heaven is Here, you know.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I think the same.
That's crazy.
They're good songs, but I mean, if they were gone, I wouldn't miss them, you know. It is what it is.
You know what I'm saying?
I just wish all 10 tracks were perverse.
I just wish this was a drone album.
I hate it when these guys two-step in this big-ass circle.
For real, dude.
God, dude.
You can't. I just wish I was like. Never mind, I can't even go off on that. But
We can,
my
go,
friends
we
are
can go put the
dead.
TV on the channel 1 for you in the living room if you want.
bro, put me in a K-hole. I'll vibe the fuck out.
Maybe you're still in one.
I might be. I don't.
Maybe this whole thing is a lie and you're just a fucking a bum on a heroin trip for like 5
Right.
minutes.
Right.
That's
As,
your
Ca-
whole life.
as Candy said, you're just a sheep being sold.
Fuck.
How do you not know that you're being sold?
Because I'm a
Word.
sheep. I don't know.
Sheeple.
So yeah, 6.5. Top 3 tracks. Number 3 is Fantasy Greed. Number 2, Kinesthesia. And number 1, Transcendent.
Transcendent's 5.
Yeah, Transcendent is just so fucking good. But
Supposed to put on channel.
We clearly know who the 9 Inch Nails fans is in the group.
Yeah.
You're disgusting.
love it. But all right, that'll wrap up our Heaven Is Here review by Candy.
Yes,
Excuse
sir.
me, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm losing my voice. If I sound a little hoarse, I don't know what's going on. Sorry, guys. But thank you guys for listening. If you've listened to it, let us know what you think. If you want something hella experimental and something that's probably not in your wheelhouse, definitely give this a listen and let us know what you think. Yeah, thank you guys for your continued support. Thank you guys for listening. Until next time, we'll see y'all. Until next time, we out. Laters, y'all.
Bye.